Have you ever asked yourself, what is the state of human rights in prisons around the world? It's a question that demands our attention. Prisons are often seen as places of punishment, but what happens when they cross lines into realms of inhumanity? Overcrowding, violence, lack of basic necessities, and blatant human rights abuses are just a few factors that can escalate a prison from bad to worst. Now, let's dive into the grim world of the 5 worst prisons on Earth. Starting our countdown at number 5, we have La Sabaneta in Venezuela. La Sabaneta, a name synonymous with overcrowding. Here, the ratio of guards to prisoners is staggering, with 1 guard assigned to every 150 inmates. Imagine the chaos, the constant tension that hangs in the air. But overcrowding is just the tip of the iceberg. Violence is a frequent visitor within these walls, a grim testament to the lack of control and order. Basic necessities like food and medical supplies are scarce, making survival an uphill battle. Gangs rule the roost in La Sabaneta, exerting their influence and control over the hapless inmates. They've created a parallel power structure, a shadow government of sorts, further complicating an already dire situation. In La Sabaneta, survival isn't about reform or rehabilitation. Here it's about waking up the next day, about navigating the gauntlet of violence, deprivation, and despair. In La Sabaneta, survival is unfortunately a daily battle. Moving on, at number 4, we find ourselves in Gitarama Central Prison in Rwanda. This prison, infamous for its inhumane conditions, is a stark reminder of the depths of human suffering. Imagine a room so packed that you can't lie down to sleep, where personal space is a luxury that no one can afford. The overcrowding is only the tip of the iceberg. The unsanitary conditions in Gitarama Central Prison are beyond appalling, with diseases running rampant. The lack of basic hygiene facilities, coupled with the overwhelming number of inmates, creates a perfect storm for the spread of illnesses. Every day, prisoners face the grim reality of life in Gitarama Central Prison. They are subjected to conditions that most of us can't even begin to comprehend. The prisoners are stripped of their basic human rights, forced to exist in a state that can barely be described as living. Gitarama Central Prison is a living nightmare, a place where human dignity is lost. Next, at number 3, is Tadmor Prison in Syria. A chilling name that evokes images of an unfathomable abyss of human despair. Tadmor Prison, infamous for its brutal treatment of prisoners, is a place where the very notion of human rights seems to be an alien concept. The walls of this prison bear silent witness to the 1980 massacre, a horrifying event that saw an estimated 1,000 prisoners ruthlessly killed. This was not an isolated incident, but a stark representation of the horrifically common violence that permeates every corner of this facility. Torture is not an exception here. It is the norm. In this place, basic human rights are not just ignored, they are systematically and deliberately violated. Inmates are subjected to unthinkable cruelty, their dignity stripped away in the most brutal, degrading ways imaginable. Tadmor Prison is a place where humanity seems to have been forgotten. A chilling reminder of the depths to which human cruelty can sink when unchecked. Coming in at number 2, we have Carandiru Penitentiary in Brazil. This facility has a history that is drenched in blood and violence, making it one of the most brutal prisons on the planet. The notorious Carandiru massacre of 1992, when 111 inmates were brutally killed during a prison riot, remains a chilling testament to its grim legacy. But it wasn't just violence that made Carandiru a living hell for its inmates. Unsanitary conditions led to the rampant spread of diseases, including HIV, turning the penitentiary into a ticking time bomb of epidemics. This combination of violence and disease made Carandiru Penitentiary a deadly trap for those unfortunate enough to be incarcerated there. Carandiru Penitentiary is a testament to the darkest side of the prison system. And now the worst of them all. At number 1, Camp 22 in North Korea. This place is the very embodiment of a nightmare, a realm where human rights are nothing more than an abstract concept. Reports of torture, forced labor, and public executions echo from its dark corners, painting a horrifying image of life within its walls. The secrecy surrounding Camp 22 amplifies its terror, creating a shroud that makes intervention by human rights organizations a near impossibility. This enigmatic prison is a stark reminder of the depths of inhumanity that can be reached when power is unchecked and fear is weaponized. Camp 22, the epitome of inhumanity, brings us to the end of our countdown. Remember, awareness is the first step towards change.